Hey, I want to give a huge shout out to Laurie-Ann because working with her has completely changed how I approach speaking. I'm not a stranger to public speaking at all. I've done plenty of it, but I've never worked with a speaking coach before. And let me tell you, the difference between going it alone and working with Laurie-Ann, night and day. She helped me develop my signature speech, and not only did it highlight my expertise and authority really well, but it converted 60% of my audience onto my email list. 60%. And did I mention, thanks to her, I landed my first paid speaking gig. Lorianne's signature speech framework made it so easy to put together a talk that opened with a bang, kept my audience engaged, and most importantly, made it effortless for them to take the next step with me. She is an absolute pleasure to work with. Super smart, really strategic, and honestly, just so much fun to be around. So, if you're on the fence about working with her, do it. You'll wonder why you waited so long. Thank you, Lorianne.
Since it's Halloween, let's talk about something that can be scarier than the haunted house, putting yourself out there. So, whether it's sharing your thought leadership online, saying yes to a podcast interview, or stepping on stage for the first time, fear can creep in. And the fear of being judged, the fear of making mistakes, the fear of not being good enough. But what if I told you fear is not a sign to stop, but it's actually an invitation to grow, to move on, to take another step? In this episode, I am going to be talking all about how to face those fears, whether you're just starting out or you've been burned before, and how to come back stronger, wiser, and more confident than ever. So grab your pumpkin spice latte and let's dive in. Welcome back, my Be in Demanders. This is Laurie-Ann, and you are listening to Be in Demand. And this podcast is all about how to leverage public speaking events to get positioned as the expert, monetize your message, and attract the ideal clients. And one of the problems that I help my clients solve is about this fear of being seen, fear of being judged, fear of showing up. Now, here's the truth. Fear never really goes away. Even the most seasoned speakers, friends of mine, still feel it before they walk on stage. As a matter of fact, myself, even after having 25 years of professional speaking experience, I still get those butterflies. I still get nervous. But the difference is that fear doesn't drive the bus. Fear is just like data. The information that it tells you is like, hey, this actually matters. It's proof that you care about the impact that you are about to make. And what I've always thought, if I don't get those butterflies, if I don't get a little nervous, then that's probably the day that I need to hang it up. So instead of trying to get rid of the fear, let's get a little curious about it. One thing that I love to say to people is make friends with the fear. And when that fear does show up, say something as silly as thank you. You just reminded me how important this is. Because the goal isn't to be fearless. The goal is to be brave enough to do it anyways. So let me tell you about one of my clients. She had this massive fear of public speaking. Heart pounding, sweaty palms fear. She just put her head down. She avoided situations where she had to speak in public. And that is actually the reason why she left her corporate career, because her boss was trying to get her to speak in meetings. And she was like, I'll show you, I'll just leave. But deep down inside, she knew that she needed to get over this fear because this fear was actually running her life. She wanted to grow her business, share her message, and be seen as an expert in her industry, which happens to be home organizing. And she did something bold. She hired me because she knew that she couldn't do it alone. And together we built up her confidence, a structure, a speech, a plan, how to pitch, and look like she'd done this before. And she went into her first speaking event at a mom's conference fully prepared. As a matter of fact, afterwards, I did ask her, were you nervous? And she said, no, I felt like I already had 5 years of experience before I even said a word. Now, here's the thing about her presentation. She really wanted audience engagement and she wanted the audience to vote on what they wanted to learn about. So she had three different options to teach the audience. That meant three different sets of slides, three different speeches ready to go. And her audience voted. And that was the presentation that she actually gave this audience. But here's what else happened. That single speaking event led to her being on morning TV 5 times. And she also got paid to write a book for her industry. Today, she's actually known as the famous home organizer of Louisville, Kentucky, all because she decided that fear was not going to be making the decisions anymore. And you've probably also heard me say, speaking is the gift that keeps on giving. And this is one of those beautiful examples where she said yes, and there was lots of different opportunities that she landed as a result of saying yes. Now, I also want to address the speakers who have already been on stage, and maybe it didn't go so well. Lord knows that all of my professional speaking friends, like, we all have one of those stage moments where it's just like, oh, if I could only go back. So it's that memory that seems to haunt us. I just had to bring in something about Halloween again. And this is exactly what happened to one of my clients. One of his first speaking events, he actually got booed off the stage. Like, the audience rejected him. They actually asked him to stop speaking. Can you imagine something like this happening? He told me that it was one of the most humiliating moments of his life. And after that, he was terrified to ever step on a stage again. As a matter of fact, he didn't step on a stage for a long time. But then we started working together and we focused on rewriting that story. And we worked on structure, delivery, and connecting with the right audience. And the next time he spoke, he only had a 15-minute slot. But during that short talk, someone from the audience came up to him afterwards, and that conversation turned into a $15,000 client. That's about $1,000 a minute. And that is the power of getting back up, of not letting fear hold you back, deciding that I'm going to try this again. I'm going to do this again. So if you've ever had a bad experience, and we all have, if you've been criticized, if you've been ignored, if you've been ghosted after a talk, I want you to hear this. Failure doesn't define you. It refines you. You get better because of those, I'll call them speed bumps, those moments in your life, those moments on stage where it just didn't go as well as you wanted. So maybe your fear isn't about starting. It's about starting again. And I get it. You're not afraid of speaking. You're just afraid of being disappointed again. But that is the only way to rebuild that confidence, is to do it again, better, stronger, wiser. So let's talk about how to actually move through the fear. What are you actually afraid of? Really take a moment and think about that. Are you afraid of judgment, rejection, maybe looking foolish? What if somebody asks you a question that you can't answer? That's usually a common one that I hear. I want you to name it. When you name it, when you decide, like, here's what the fear is, it starts to weaken that fear. Next, I want you to normalize it. Even the pros get nervous. You're just a human. You're normal. And try this simple reframe. Instead of saying, I'm scared, say, I'm excited. I'm excited. Even when you get those butterflies, when you get nervous, when you get scared, I'm excited. That's all. I'm excited. Same body reaction, completely different mindset. And that difference in the mindset really can change how you react. Next, rehearse. Rehearse your confidence. Confidence doesn't just appear magically, it's actually rehearsed. Stand the way you would stand as a confident speaker. Smile the way you would smile when you're feeling confident. I mean, look at other areas of your life where confidence is easy. And I want you just to notice, take notes, because How you do one thing is how you do everything. And so if you do it in one area of your life, you can do it in this area of your life. Next, borrow my belief in you until you have your own. I've coached over 1,000 people who were just as nervous as you are right now, and they have all come out stronger in the end. So borrow my belief until you have your own. Last one, celebrate every time you say yes to a speaking opportunity, every time you go live on IG, every time you say yes to a podcast interview, every time you pitch yourself for speaking opportunities. That's a win. And I want you to continue to acknowledge those wins. That is proof that you are growing. Remember, you can't fight the ghosts in your head if you keep the lights off. So turn them on, face them, and you'll realize they're not that scary. So fear can feel like a gatekeeper to the next level. You've probably heard next level, new devil. I mean, it's true. There's always a new set of fears. Imposter syndrome is just like, who am I? I just know that that's just a part of growth. And it only feels scary because you're not on the other side. You're at the edge of your comfort zone and you're dipping your toe over there. So just realize you're growing. That's all. So, with this Halloween season, instead of running from your fear, I want you to walk straight up to it, mic in hand, confidence in your voice, and say, you know what? I am going to do this. Because when you do, your audience, your clients, and opportunities are going to be waiting for you. And if you're ready to stop letting fear haunt your speaking dreams, I want you to book a call. And during that call, I will help you to clarify your message and start positioning yourself as the go-to expert in your space. That link is down below in the show notes because your message matters and someone out there is waiting to hear it from you. Enjoy this Halloween season. And until next time, I want you to be in demand.